Hello, YouTube, and ladies and gentlemen. This is Smarty Bob out here in central Indiana where it's 90 degrees and hot. Today I'm going to be smoking my old Great Dane, and I was messing around and found I had a Forever Stem for it. So I'm going to be smoking up the Forever Stem. Don't take much to get your tobacco lit today out here in this heat. It is hot. I hate it. Well, in this old Great Dane corncob pipe, I'll be smoking some Carter Hall. Well, it's so hot I was inside most of the day. Was watching some lives on the computer. I was watching Papa Bear's Nook. I love the lives, guys. I think it's probably the future of YouTube presenters. Lives are great. And I've been watching that about a few minutes, and then the dog got up, and my wife's gone. She's in France, Paris, and I love it. Anyhow, I've really been working with this dog to get her potty trained, and I think I've got it. Haven't had an accident in about 4 days, and I need to knock on wood. She's also caught on to let me know. She goes by the back door. I put a bell on the back door. She goes and pulls on that bell when she wants out. I come out and we go for a walk. Sometimes I walk them back the house, side of the house. Today it's so hot, I thought I'd walk over by the golf course, and over in the rough area over there, they got some trees. We'd stand in the trees and get in the shade. So, and my dog goes crazy when she sees golf balls. I got buckets of golf balls over there that we pick up. I give them to the local high school team here, boys. And while I was walking around over there, I stumbled into an old hand pump. Years ago, this golf course, in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, 60s, it used to be a pig farm. A guy had an old barn over there and had a hand pump on it, and a trough, and he'd pump that hand pump and water his pigs. So I got to thinking about back in the day when we had a hand pump in front of our house. We were very poor. I lived in a little old 3-room house. No water. Pump was in the front yard, not 40 feet from the porch. The old outhouse was in the backyard. I'm going to show you some pictures of these old pumps. It is interesting how they worked. People talking about you got to prime the pump. That's because the shafts down in the pump, remember the pump's in a pipe, but the shaft down in there had to have some leather washers around it. You'd put that water down in there, that water would seep around those leather washers, and you'd start pumping that pump up and down, and the leather would swell and create a suction, and that would suck up that water up. there was a foot valve in the bottom of that pipe that would open up when the water was coming up, and then it would close and keep the water up in that pump, in that pipe. So therefore you pumped a couple times and the water would come out. Probably more than you wanted to know about old pumps. Anyhow, I can remember getting up in the morning and going out, and I had an older brother, and he did it most of the time. He was older than me quite a bit. And one of his first duties was to go out, take a couple buckets. Back then they had old galvanized buckets, metal galvanized buckets. Pump them full of water, bring them in the front door. Mom would keep them in there in the kitchen. That's what you cooked with, washed your dishes with, and she washed clothes with. When I was real young, she had just 2 old tubs and an old washboard, scrubber board. And then she got an old hand wringer. And I can remember when I was probably about 10 years old or so, Dad bought her an electric Maytag washing machine for their anniversary or birthday, whatever it was, and boy, she was in heaven. Anyhow, one day Dad got the idea, let's put an electric motor on that pump. People started converting over back then. And run a pipe into the house and have water in the house. The first 2 places the water went in the house was number 1, to a kitchen sink. That was your main water supply. Number 2, to a commode or a toilet. So we got an old toilet and mounted it in. Dad made a little bit of a 5x5 room off of the 1 bedroom. And we had a toilet. When you got rid of the toilet, then you stopped using the outhouse. How they used those outhouses back in the day is they were just little simple wood sheds, nothing to them. You dig a hole, pile the dirt, put the outhouse on it, use the outhouse. Pretty soon that hole got full. Sometimes it'd take a year depending on the size of the hole you dealt. And you take that outhouse and you'd move it 4 or 5 feet this way, fill the dirt on top of that, and that crap would degenerate and that dirt would fall back down and be smooth. You move that over another hole and you start it over. And you moved your outhouse back and forth through your yard. Anyhow, we got a new toilet. And it was amazing when you're a kid. You did your business and you flush and you look in there and wash it. Anyhow, Mom got a Maytag washer. A couple years after that, we got a water heater. Now, it was amazing the thought of having hot water in the house. Realized before then, hot water was, you had to put a kettle or a pail on the old wood burning stove that was in the center of the house that heated the house. Well, I watched it live, excused myself from Popper Bell, came out and did the dog walk, found the golf balls, and stumbled onto the old pump. Thought I'd just share a little bit of my life back in the day. We were very poor, dirt poor. Things sure has changed. And I got a lot of memories. All of them are good. Even those that seemed rough at the time are good memories. So listen, Yesterday was just a memory, and mine are good. And I hope yours are too. And as I watch your videos, I know they are. Tomorrow's just a promise. Tomorrow, there's so much looking at us on the horizon that to me is going to be great. I look at artificial intelligence and where it's going to take us, and one of these days, Smarty Bob may not be Smarty Bob. But I see a lot of good things. I see electric cars, they're getting better and better and go farther and farther. And yesterday, just a promise. Now, it's a hot day. I got my garage door about halfway closed, so I'm going to try to get this pipe lit up a little bit and finish what little bit of tobacco I got left in here. And you all have a good day. And Paul of Pipes of Old, get out of that heat. It's hot. And now, somewhere, I got a clicker. And as Ethan, the parsimonious piper, have told you, I figured this out.